Yeah, first of all, I wanna show my warm greeting to the all panelists, honorable panelists from Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Timor-Leste, and the Philippines, and also Mr. Muhammad Jalid as Director and Representative, UNESCO Office Jakarta, and Ms. Mi Yong Choi, Head of Education, Unit UNESCO Office Jakarta. So for today's presentation, I will presenting our study related accelerating SDG 4 achievement through education, sector policies and planning in 5 cluster countries. The outline of this study, actually there are 4 chapters. The first chapter about introduction of the study, the second one conceptual framework of the study. Then we explore the finding of the study, especially in 3 areas: curriculum reforms, learning assessment, and ICT utilization. And the last part of this presentation is recommendation. Education sector plan and policy are government means to ensure the right to quality education. As you can see, all 5 cluster countries already has their own education policy. Like in Brunei Darussalam, has National Education System for the 21st Century or SPN 21 that enacted in 2009. Indonesia has a medium-term development plan, the Ministry of Education Strategic Plan in 2020 and until 2024. Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 until 2025. Philippines has Philippine Development Plan, Department Education Strategic Direction 2017 until 2022, and Timor-Leste has National Education Strategic Plan 2011 until 2030. And we want to know how those policies supporting SDG 4, which aim to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Based on our analysis, the goal is reflected in each government strategic plan, prepared through participatory process to achieve countries' long-term vision. The conceptual framework of the study, we want to show this study using the input process output framework, which is the chapter 2 as the input. We want to try to explore about the education structure for each country, overall performance like the access and participants, quality, equity, effectiveness, and efficiency, and education sector planning and policy formulation. Those all the one that we cover in chapter 2 in our study. In chapter 3 is the curriculum reform towards quality education, relevance of the curriculum to current needs, and curriculum delivery during COVID-19 pandemic situation. And chapter 4 is related with the learning assessment. We cover policies in measuring education outcome and effectiveness, role of national and school assessment in policy making, government responses to cross-national assessment, and examination amidst COVID-19 pandemic challenges. And chapter 4 not only the assessment, but the result from those assessment is also become the feedback to improve the situation, the current performance of the ESP, education sector policy for each country, and the content of the curriculum, in the one that we cover in chapter 3. Based on the trend in technology, we cannot forget about the role of ICT. And we see ICT as enabler, the one that also support its part, the input and process output in creating, designing, implementing the education sector policy and planning. The second part is about the findings. We're starting with the curriculum reform, which will be covered in two parts: the quality and relevance. In terms of the quality, we can see some content in the policy for each country is already covered about student-centered learning, international standard, national identity and local content, 21st century skills, and adjustment to the disadvantages. And this term of quality actually supporting SDG target 4.1. However, those content, it's nice to have those content in the policy planning, education policy in each country. However, there are some challenges also that we found. In example, like in student-centered learning, the teacher facilitation skills and belief system and habits is the challenge. In terms of the international standard, like the contextualization, the content, the one that will be used as the international standard, and the language that we choose as the second language or the language of international standard that will be used in our curriculum. And about related with national identity and local content, the challenges is about standardization and globalization. In terms of 21st century skills, the competencies of the educator itself still the challenge, and adjustment to the disadvantage. Still, the issues is related with access and support. In terms of relevance, the relevant skills to align with the current trend in technology and also the current trend in the global, there are three content, the one that used in the curriculum, like ICT skills, digital skills, career and entrepreneurships. However, there are some challenges in implementing those competencies. Like example, in ICT literacy, still vulnerable, especially in continuation of education with distance learning during pandemic. In addition, access and participation in secondary education still low compared to primary level. Yeah, Mrs. Myong Choi already explained about this data, the one that exposed the participation rate in education, secondary education. However, this situation will be impact the acquisition of the relevant skill also might not be optimal, because those young people, the one that actually should be in the secondary education, they don't exposed by the new technology, new competencies, the one that relevant with the global trend. The risk identification that we found out when we discuss about the curriculum reform, actually it's mostly happening during the COVID-19. Yeah, as we already know, the delivery during the pandemic is asynchronous. We cannot synchronous or asynchronous, but it's not in the offline mode. Therefore, such media like TV programs, compact learning materials, video YouTube via internet, video conference, WhatsApp, and short messaging service, SMS, is used to utilize in delivery the curriculum to the students. And we identify the risk because this situation, the one that we already designed to become the student-centered learning, it goes back, return to the teacher-centered learning. And based on the policy planning, there are some development steps because the situation, the quality improvement is delayed. And we found out also irreplaceable loss of learning opportunity for children. And the one that actually we need to improve, but because this situation also become more affected by the situation, which is the disadvantages are left behind and isolated. The second part of our finding is learning assessment. In this section, we also cover two parts, the national exam and cross-examination. We refocusing high-stake national exam and school-based assessment for learning improvement is essential. We found out it's high-stake national exam at the end of school grade because we only have at the final period of their learning to find out their performance. It will be good if we can have like the midterm learning assessment. So if we found out their performance in the mid period, we can find some mitigation. We can create some policy to improve their performance. So at the end, their performance can be optimal. And also we found out the need to standardize assessment following curriculum reforms in internationalization and localization. And the second part of this section is cross-national assessment. Cross-national assessment are opportunities to improve learning quality and education sector as a whole. We believe this cross-national assessment role as a benchmarking. So cross-national assessment offers some insight to relevant outcome. We found out cross-national assessment also as benchmarking for acceleration in improvement to compete globally. When we try to look the score in PISA and TIMSS, we found out socio-economic disparity analysis of PISA score we could use as a starting point to improve the equity. And the last one, our finding is responsive, appropriate policy and curriculum reform is the first key. The risk identification in this section, learning assessment, we found out there are 5 risks. The first one is bias improvement. Exam not measuring the actual result. Decreasing literacy and numeracy skills because it's hard to monitor the progress with the student learning from home. Failure in mastery of relevant work skill is related with the number of participation rate in the secondary school. Decrease communication skills and character development because they are isolated. It's hard for them to have a collaboration or communication using the electronic media. Yeah, I think it's also related with the Vygotsky theory in the social constructivism. The student can be achieve more when they have their peers and they can have discussion regarding the knowledge, regarding the study material. And lower effectiveness, worsen out of school rates, worsen completion rate also become a problem, and grade repetition. And as an enabler, the utilization of information, communication, and technology, we found out there are opportunity and challenges. The opportunity is right now the pandemic forced the schools to start using learning management system. So this is the opportunity to improve the LMS that can deliver good quality learning. Expand access to quality education, the use of ICT, more relevant learning outcome, real-time learning progress monitoring, and it also could facilitating disadvantaged people. Competitive quality educational technology market because some startup also see an opportunity to create their new startup business in education technology, and robust scale up of initiative. And the challenges, the infrastructure and access to technology, it's still costly, and not all region, especially in one country, if they like archipelagic countries, not all island can access this kind of technology. The competencies, the challenges in competencies, like the teacher ICT competencies, student ICT competencies, and parents competencies, ICT competencies. Why we include parents? Because when they are study at home, the role of teacher is also, the parent also become the role of the teacher. That's why parent is required to know, to increase their competencies in ICT. Our risk identification in ICT utilization, the ICT actually is good to use to promote the education, to use in education. However, there are some side effects in using ICT, like mental health and emotional development risk, especially during the pandemic, when the student feeling solitaire and there are not enough support, they are stressed enough with the situation. And when they don't know the etiquette in the ICT environment, sometimes it also increase the cyber crime and also cyber bullying. The third one is ICT exclusiveness. Even we realize ICT can help the disadvantaged student. However, the nature of ICT itself, the one that it's costly, and not all can access this kind of technology, so it can cause socio-economic inequalities and more difficult ICT adoption in the future, because from the bad experience make the student or the learner or the teacher, they don't want to use the ICT again for the future. So at the end, our recommendation in terms of curriculum, we have two recommendations. We should improve teachers' pedagogy skills to ensure curriculum reforms impact classroom activities, especially with the changes very fast. We want to make sure how fast the teachers can absorb the new content of curriculum, and they can deliver to the class. The second one is improve access to secondary education, so students can attain future relevant competencies. In terms of examination, emphasize role of exam and assessment to improve learning. We propose to have not only at the end of period, but also in the middle of period of study. The second one is actively involved in cross-national assessment and use the result in policy making. Assess pandemic impact to learning and implement appropriate measure. I think this is very important. We don't know yet how the impact of pandemic in terms of our future generation. So it should be create such program or such project to assess the impact of pandemic and create some mitigation for the risk that appear from those assessment. And in terms of ICT, we have three such recommendations. First one is improve ICT infrastructure and solve disparity issues. The second one is strengthen teachers' ICT literacy to ensure relevant learning outcomes. And the third one, closely monitor risk and impact of ICT use to students. Thank you for your attention.